All right, today class, we're going to go over the notes that we took on Friday. Remember that you need to watch the video from Friday. This is where the notes came from if you haven't done so already. It's super important that you watch that video so that you're not behind and you understand what I'm talking about. All right, so here we're going to be writing equations in slope-intercept form. We talked about what a linear equation is. Linear equations are equations that graph straight lines. The equation may graph a line that goes up. That's a straight line that goes up. The equation may graph a straight line that's going down. The equation may graph a line that is horizontal or vertical. So these are examples of what equations could look like when you graph them. And these examples are called linear equations because they graph straight lines. All right, now how do you write the equation for those straight lines? These are the steps, and again, this is in our video. The very first step is to find the slope. There are two formulas for calculating the slope. The second step, after you figure out what the slope is by using one of the formulas, you're going to figure out what b is. We talked about b is the letter that represents the y-intercept. The y-intercept is where your line crosses the y-axis. And remember, when we were graphing equations, we labeled our m and our b. We labeled our b as the number that had no variable attached to it. All right, so we understand b to be where the line crosses the y-axis. Okay. All right, so now the last step, obviously, is to take your number for m and your number for b and plug it into the slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Okay. Here is the example, and this is the same thing that we're going to do in our independent practice work today. They're going to give you the slope. They're going to give you a value for m. They're going to give you the b, which is a value for the y-intercept, and they're going to substitute these values into this slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. So whatever they give you for m, plug it in right here. So since this 5 is m or slope, then you plug in 5 right here, bring down the x. Since your y-intercept is a positive 7, you're going to say plus 7. If your y-intercept was a negative 7, then you'll say minus 7. Any questions about this example? Okay. All right, so now let's go to the independent practice problems. We can do those. Okay. All right. So here, when you are doing the independent practice problems, in order to show your work, what you do here is you write the slope-intercept form, which is this right here, y equals mx plus b. Note that your m is the slope. Okay. The slope is given right here. And make a note that your b is the letter that represents y-intercept. Okay. So here, this is how you show your work. Very simplistic. Write the slope-intercept form first for all of these and just plug these values in. So for m, I'm going to replace this m with 4 over 5 because that's my slope. So y is equal to 4 over 5. Bring down my x. And I'm going to replace b with a negative 8. So that's minus 8. This is my equation. Any questions about that? Okay, we got some questions in the chat. Yes. Okay. All right, so I'm going to do number 3. Again, you're going to write y equals mx plus b, the slope-intercept form. You're going to substitute, remembering that m is the slope, b is the y-intercept. You're going to substitute the slope in for m and the y-intercept for b. So since my slope is 7/7, so 7 over 5, you're going to replace m with 7 over 5. Bring down the x. And since your y-intercept is negative 2, you're going to replace b with minus 2. Any questions about that? Okay, in the chat, I need you to answer number 4. In the chat, I need you to answer number 4, please. Okay, so in number 4, again, I want you to write the slope-intercept form. That's y equals mx plus b, where your m represents the slope, okay, and your b represents the y-intercept. The number for slope is 7/6, or 7/6. Bring down the x, and your b is -8, so that's going to be -8. And this is going to be the equation, the linear equation when giving your slope and your y-intercept. So as an essential question, guys, I ask you, how do you find or describe how to find the, or how to write the linear equation when you're given the slope and the y-intercept? And how do you do that? You're going to take, or you're going to substitute your slope and your y-intercept into the slope-intercept form. Very simple. All you're doing is substituting m and b, or your slope and your y-intercept, into the slope-intercept form. Any questions about how to do these problems?